Okay, welcome back. And I guess we didn't get too far into episode two, so let's do episode two now. So we begin with again, Antigone has been hauled in, and so Creon begins an interrogation. Here we see, I alluded to this in the previous uh, tutorial about the difference between a horesis, a set speech, kind of like a speech before the forum, and stichomathea, this back and forth speech. And so for interrogations, that stichomathea, which by the way was the winning word in this year's Scripps spelling bee, the first tie in 100 years or something like that. Um, we have Creon interrogating Antigone in the quick back and forth dialogue that we call stichomathea. Creon, I think here's some of the evidence that I was talking about before for the lack of absolute villainy of Creon. Creon really does try to give his niece a way out. Uh, he says, "Did you know about the edict?" Maybe if she says no, then maybe that could be an excuse for playing favorites. I can let her go. But Antigone does not give him that easy way out, and here is where she invokes that principle of man's law versus God's law. Now, there was a controversy like this at the time, but it wasn't exactly in those terms. And so I think sometimes we make it too stark when we look at this situation in Antigone, man's law versus God's law. What it was is that the Athenians were very proud of their justice system, that they thought that was one of their great contributions to Greek civilization, was to give justice for all, as we have in our Pledge of Allegiance. Whether or not we have achieved that, of course we haven't. But that is an ideal. That's the nature of ideals, right? They're supposed to be higher than reality. And so, at any rate, that's what the Greeks thought that they had, and what they were discovering in the 4th century BC as Sophocles was writing this play, that there were some conflicts, and so they discovered it was the name of the conflict at the time. They were speaking of it as unwritten law. Okay, kind of like the connection in Catholic theology between Scripture and tradition. You know, the response of the Catholic theologian to the Protestant theologian who asks for every Catholic practice, the Protestant says, "Well, wait a minute, where is that in the Bible?" Well, of course, a good Catholic theologian can point to the scriptural basis of everything that we do, uh, but uh, but a larger issue is, the Catholic response. Well, where do you think the Bible came from? The Bible came from the same repository of the faith as our traditions, and so many of our traditions, it comes from the same place as the Scriptures, and so there should be no contradiction. There is no contradiction, but let's not be hung up on finding it in Scripture. Okay, something similar was the argument at the time between the written law and the unwritten law. So this is a very timely issue when Sophocles um, produced this play. Okay. Um, However, it breaks down at this point, and Creon, not having been, since Antigone did not take the easy way out, Creon, his first reaction, and the gender issue is there. I was being flippant about it before, but it really is there in Creon. Creon really has a problem not only with the fact that Antigone is younger. Actually, the youth issue comes in with his son. Am I to be instructed by men of his age? He says of Haman in his confrontation with Haman later. But here he says, but she's the man and not I, he says. He feels emasculated by her getting her way, that somehow it makes him less of a man. Um, Ismene is next. Creon turns to Ismene, uh, and here is where I think I alluded to this in the previous uh, presentation, that in fact um, Ismene is not, that's not just a cop out when she says, "Oh, we can't do that." um, it's not just a cover up for her cowardice, her thinking that it shouldn't be done. Uh, and the proof of that is that she certainly does not lack the courage here to, now that the deed has been done and there's nothing that she can do to undo it, she accepts it and she says, I was part of it too. But Antigone refuses to allow her sister to take some of the credit. And here is where I think we can be a little bit suspicious of her heroism and say, well, wait a minute, is that really a principle or is it grandstanding? I mean, here she doesn't want anybody else to share the credit. Is that really all of her concern? However, if we were disposed to be kinder to Antigone, we would also point out that, well, wait a minute, maybe she does love her sister, and in fact doesn't want, or maybe she loves truth so much that because it is not in fact true that Ismene helped with the process, that we should defend truth. So those are more palatable explanations of Antigone's actions here. And those are the choices that you make when you're doing a production of Antigone, or if you're playing the part of Antigone or Ismene. You can decide which of those should be true. But at any rate, Antigone won't allow her to share the blame, and so with that, the chorus begins the second choral ode, which means that we're about to start the third episode, which means that this is the end, that is the end of this presentation. So we'll see you in episode 3. Bless you.